mine the earth crust, so that they have a 6 weeks training. I will bring them. It will be continuous. We have quite a robust understanding with a number of companies. In China, we have MOUs with steel processing plants, quite a number of them. We have MOUs with geological surveys of so many provinces in China, and we are already sending some people there, I believe, for internship. So we are doing that capacity building. We are doing it in a very robust way. It's unprecedented. To commit just on the asking 30 billion. My minister has always made reference to the fact that in 2015, the budget of the ministry was only 1 billion, and only 370 million was accessed. In 2016, however, we got to, I think, something in the region of 6 billion, and we accessed 45% of that. In 2017, we got 12 billion. Well, we all know the problems with the 2017 budget. But at least government has given attention adequately to this sector. Of course, we would need more attention. This is a sector that is completely capital intensive. But at least the journey of 1,000 miles, they say, begins with the first step. So we thank the federal government of Nigeria for this turnaround, and we undertake not to disappoint. I would at this juncture call on the Director General of Nigerian Geological Survey Agency to give a little talk of 2 minutes, because we realize that recently some state governments have decided on their own to embark on geological exploration of minerals in their states. And we will just be doing an exercise in futility, because honestly they would not have the resources to do that. And even when they do that, they do not have the exclusive right to do anything about what they discover until and unless they collaborate with the federal government. On the flip side, the Director General will want to also talk about how states can actually save their money and factor into mining as an economic activity. So, Mr. Alex, please.
Good afternoon, the Chairman of No retreats, no surrender. When you are equipped with the data, you can systematize your approach. You can plan what is where and what quality, in what geological environment. How do you even beneficiate? Because the point is that you could have gold of higher concentration, but less attractive than gold of lower concentration. Why? How do you extract? That is one major problem people have not actually, considered. Once they see gold, 100 grams per ton, they're moving. The person who has 20 grams per ton has a more profitable venture than the person who has 100 grams per ton. Why? Because of the beneficiation potentials and the extraction potentials of the one that has the 10 over the one that has the 100. So basically, the sector is an information-driven sector. You must be equipped in terms of data and information, because before you can make an investment decision. So, in all of this, where are we? Of course, Nigerian Geological Survey is the agency of the federal government established to generate, archive, and disseminate data. So when people say there are no data, I believe that people are not taking advantage of what we have already. Because the issue is that right now we have 100% coverage of airborne data of Nigeria. And I've always made this comment that most of the people who approach us for airborne data are foreign investors. Why is it that way? Perhaps our people do not know how to interpret, process the data for their own use. And of course, we have facilities in Nigerian Geological Survey where we can assist you in interpreting the data that you acquire from us. So let us not say we don't have data. We have data, but not enough. And this is the effort the federal government is making to bridge that gap. And of course, apart from the airborne data, we've also conducted geochemical data, World Bank assisted or sponsored geochemical data. So rather than reinventing the wheel and doing exactly what has been done, why not make inquiries and say, do you have data and so place? We have a website where you can go. Just tell us your coordinates and say, what kind of data do you have in this kind of place? Then we'll, across just through the website, we'll tell you the data we have. So that you don't keep doing exactly what has already been done. Like, you know, when we saw in the news that Cross River has commissioned some people to go and do geological exploration and generate mineral. This is the data we already have in our database. Why can't they take advantage of just coming and requesting for something that is already existing rather than engaging people to do exactly what has already been done? So, of course, we also have EM data, we have core logs. Of course, you know they are going to Minerals and Mining Act. Geological Survey is supposed to be a repository of core logs drilled by you. We want to be a little more robust in trying to approach this matter because definitely it saves government a lot of money when you drill holes and at the end of the day you don't make use of those holes. Some other person, maybe researchers, maybe some other person involved in a different mineral other than the one you are interested in, might be interested in that particular place but on a different arrangement. The person can come to us and request for core logs that will help them to, you know, shorten their investment. And of course, states can go into mining, but not directly as the chairman has said. You can use the SPV, the special purpose vehicle. You can set up a mining company. Set up a mining company and do what other mining companies do. Generate data, go to mining cadastral and get your title accordingly. But if you do not have what it takes, of course there are other people who already have titles, who may be handicapped one way or the other. You can partner with them and say, okay, this is the minerals we have in abundance in our state. You already have the title. Come, let's sit down and talk and see the areas of collaboration. These are some of the areas where I know Osun State has done something like that in their gold deposit because we actually did some work for them. We generated a lot of data, and of course, based on that, when you are going for conferences, you have what you go with. It's not just enough to say, go to Canada, go to Australia and say, we have gold, we have limestone, we have, it's no news. They are not interested in that. What they are interested in is characterize exactly what you have to the extent that you can reduce our risk. This is where you start negotiating with them. And so I ask the states to please, if possible, invite us to advise you on steps to take in trying to, you know, be involved in mining. And of course, I've been given 2 minutes. We have also, like you said, entered into MOU with a lot of foreign counterparts. Finland, France, South Africa, Poland. We are working with USGS now. We have just trained about 6 geologists in geological survey of China on geochemical mapping. And of course, we can offer our services to you based on, you know, our own expertise, and of course share with you as well because I know some of you are equally very experienced and exposed in exploration. So let's work together and for the benefit of this nation.
The Permanent Secretary, members of the High Table, commissioners, director generals, fellow miners, I stand by the previous established protocol. I wish to extend my greetings to you and wish to observe that yesterday, today, and tomorrow is the days of the stakeholders in the Nigerian mining industry. As far as I can remember, there was never a time when this kind of platform of stakeholders from different constituencies converge and recognize and establish as an institution like what is happening today. Of course, from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So on behalf of the entire membership of the Miners Association, let me also, on behalf of the stakeholders, I wish to seek your permission to appreciate the ministry for this laudable initiative. Now, the philosophy under any democratic setup is that government, and by extension the ministry, does not have the monopoly for knowledge. The mining industry is so vast, operators are so many, mining sites are so many and scattered, yet the sector is reimagined. It emerged in the 60s, 70s, and 50s, but now both the government and the stakeholders are faced with the task of rejuvenating a falling sector. And therefore, that task cannot be handled by the government alone. I'm sorry to say the government does not have the capacity to longly raise up the mining sector without the cooperation of the stakeholders. So realizing this, I want to say kudos to the ministry for seeing the reality and for admitting their limitation. So I wish to appeal to all of us to, in view of today's reality, put all hands on deck to see how this sector can be rejuvenated. It is indicting for all of us to hear that Beru for food Beru is deciding GDP. Beru for statistics are saying that our contribution to the GDP is 0.0 something, 0.03. It's indicting. That is to say that nothing is happening. Professor Gaba yesterday said that there was no mining industry. There was no input for us to make yesterday. But I would have said, yes, there might not be mining industry, but there is mining activities in the country. The World Bank has declared that about 1 metric tons or 2 metric tons of gold are being sold out of the country. How can we get this without mining activities? There might not be mining industry, but something is happening. The tin being exported. Indonesia, according to presentation yesterday, that confirmed Nigeria as the 7th largest supplier of tin. Can we achieve that status without activities? There is mining activities taking place. It could be illegal, it could be informal, but something is happening. So the task now is for the government and the stakeholders to resolve, to work together to save the economy through the rejuvenation of mining sector. So once again, on behalf of Miners Association of Nigeria and the stakeholders, I want to congratulate the ministry, and I hope this council will be made to work and is going to be sustainable, because today is not the first day we are seeing things like that. We are so used to it, but you see, we are stakeholders. Whenever we are called, we have to come. But this time we are coming with hope that let us not meet in vain. After this meeting, or after the change of the leadership of the ministry, let the council continue to work, and let operators be continued to carry it along, so that our convergence will not be in vain. Literatures has been generated, the roadmap, the myths, all the structures that are supposed to propel the work of the sector are in place. Recently, the funding issue is gradually gaining attention. The $5 billion intervention for ASM is no longer a new news. It has been circulating. So we appreciate the government, and we also wish to appeal that the $5 billion, I'm happy they call it seed capital. It's just a drop in an ocean. And therefore, we are appealing that, or we are advising the government to explore other financial windows. There are so many financial windows, especially offshore, that the government can access. The World Bank is there, African Development Bank, even the EU. So many international organizations has a mining component funding that individual and companies, even organizations may not be assist, but government can assist. So we are advising the government to explore these multiple financial windows so that the funding will continue, and the funding should also be used as a carrot to attract formalization, especially for the artisanal miners. The funding should also be used to mechanize the small-scale miners. If this is done, I want to assure you with some level of certainty that by God's grace, in the next few years, mining sector will bounce back, and it will generate massive employment for the people and revenue for the government. Thank you very much for your attention.
Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to just quickly
the Permanent Secretary and Chairman, members of the High Table, distinguished guests. I just want to make a remark about the operational procedure that we may adopt regarding security in the mines field. Yesterday, the Director of Mines told us that the Minister himself and the National Security Advisor had to go to Zurich to stop illegal mining activities, which was being carried out under the protection of the Army. I think this is worrisome. We have different sites, mostly run by foreigners, under the protection of the military, the police, and the NSCDC, that's the civil defense. I hope the civil defense man is here today. I will have wished he's here today to hear. The problem comes that anybody could take the police or the army and go to anybody's site or within an exploration license and start mining activities. I think what this ministry should do is to tell the security agencies that all requests for protection should come through the ministry, through the federal mines officer, who is always in position to determine the genuine owners of licenses and leases. He can even tell the police that what this man has does not give him any right to mine. He can only explore. Because if you go to most of the sites, a lot of foreigners